My name is Jonathan Goldberg. I was called to the bar in 1971. I became a Queen's Counsel in 1989 and a Recorder of the Crown Court, in other words, part-time judge, in 1992. Now, we are here today to talk about advocacy. And I wish I could say to you that by looking at this CD or video, you will all become great advocates thereafter. I can't, of course, because this is an art, not a science. It's something that you go on learning throughout your careers. Indeed, that's one of the wonderful things about it. I learn every day in court. And it relies so much on psychology and observation that parts of it cannot be taught, but must be learned by experience. But like anything else in life at which you want to become good, there are certain ground rules, and without an understanding of those ground rules, whether it be playing the piano or learning to swim or to ski, you can never progress. So what we're going to be doing today is looking at those ground rules, and if you take them on board, I hope you will have the basis for a successful career as an advocate. Well, let's begin by considering what there is to be learned from the very word advocacy. It comes, of course, from two Latin words, advocare, meaning to call towards. So it's all about persuading, calling the audience, whether it be the judge or jury, towards you. So we're in the business of techniques of persuasion. Now, how do you persuade somebody to believe in your cause? Well, first, you've got to be pleasant. You've got to be persuasive. You've got to be clean and confident. And of course, whether it be selling a car or selling the murderer's defense, you've got to know your product thoroughly. You've got to be well prepared. You've got to be attractive to the audience. And anything which gets in the way of you and your audience is going to be a distraction to the audience taking in your argument and being persuaded by it. But above all, to succeed as an advocate, I firmly believe, after long years of observation and experience, you need to be confident in yourself. You will only ever persuade a judge or jury if you yourself are happy in your own skin. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, I have seen many great advocates. I've seen some awful ones as well. And of course, let me tell you, you learn just as much from the bad advocate as you do from watching the good advocate. But one thing is for sure, take every opportunity just to sit in court and listen to cases, not your own. Take every opportunity, because there's nothing like listening to advocates to see what their good points are and what their mistakes are. But I was saying that you've got to be comfortable in your own skin. And I can think, for example, of one of the great jury advocates of my youth, Richard Ducan. Well, he was an aristocrat. He was 6.5 feet tall. He was Eton and the Guards and all the rest of it. And he had a wonderful manner based on that experience of life. But on the other hand, I can think of Michael Sherard, a wonderful QC, now retired. And Michael, I think, had a humble background in the East End of London as a Jewish boy. And listening to him was almost like selling a carpet. He would use his hands, and he would be absolutely humorous and his own man. But my God, you wanted to buy that carpet because he was so confident in himself. I think of Sanderson Temple, who was a very great Queen's Counsel from the north of England. He was a North Countryman. He was very proud of it. He had a strong northern accent, and he would beguile his juries by simple tales of country living. Lord Denning, an example well known to all of us. He was a great advocate before he became, of course, a great judge. You all remember, I'm sure, the deep West Country accent. He never tried to lose it. And the worst advocates are those who pretend to be some sort of type of person which they are not. So in other words, don't try to be Richard Ducan if you're perhaps from an ethnic minority community. Don't try to be Lord Denning if indeed you are from Eton and the Guards. Just be what you are and build upon it is my best advice to you. And nowadays we have, as advocates, representatives of all the ethnic minority communities. We have a tremendous variety of different cultures represented in our courts. Be proud of whatever you are, don't be ashamed of it, draw on your own cultural experiences to tell little tales or homely analogies. I can think of a very successful young barrister today who's Irish, and I've heard him talk to judges about the fairies and the leprechauns in a very delightful and appropriate way. A perfect example of just being what you are as an advocate. Let me give you one final example. Of course, a very great lawyer before he became such a famous politician was Nelson Mandela. Consider him when you're considering his rhetoric, his skills of presentation. Again, totally comfortable in his own skin. So these are the examples to which you must aim, even if you never achieve it.